Hello, Studmuffin 1986 here, talking about more tank talk. Today I'm going to be talking about how to play strategically with a medium tank. Now, I touched on a little bit about this in my tutorial or instructional video, whatever you want to call it, to help players that have a 40 to 50% win rate. But this video is to specifically talk about those players that are interested in learning how to improve and get better. I'm not saying that I'm the best at it, but I feel like I have a decent amount of knowledge to know how to play with them, and I can share some of that knowledge to help other players out. So just jumping right into it here, medium tanks, you have to understand they're not made equal. And just because you have a medium tank, they're not all played the same, is what I mean by they're not all equal. It's a matter of understanding your tank, first of all. Number one, right off the bat, is, and I did touch on this on my one of my previous videos, but is understanding your gun depression. If you have really good gun depression, then peeking over hills, utilizing the spots that's going to force your cannon to point down is going to strengthen your turret, and you're going to be able to put yourself in positions that tanks that don't have good gun depression won't have the same advantage. Tanks that don't have good gun depression, like the T62A that I'm playing here now, doesn't have very good gun depression, and so I'm having to keep the tank very much so on flatter ground, trying to keep my lower body or hull protected, peeking my turret out as much as I can with still being able to use just that little bit of gun depression I have, and being able to get shots right off the enemies, trying to understand the map. And when you're a medium tank or a light tank, it is incredibly important, not only for all the different tanks you're playing, but to not tunnel vision and pay attention to the map at all times. You need to be very aware of what's going on around you. You need to be paying attention to that map, because if you're paying attention to that map, it's going to help you know how to position yourself, where you should go. If the enemies are on one side, that may let you know to flank. If the map will tell you where enemies are positioned, if they're detected, where your teammates are positioned, and it'll help you formulate a plan of how to position yourself better so you can either get the upper hand on the enemy. You'll know how to strategically place yourself in a spot where maybe you can put the enemy in a pinch. You can come up kind of up and around, maybe behind them, and so forth. So paying attention to your surroundings and the map itself is extremely important, especially when being a light or medium tank, because tunnel visioning in one of these things is one of the worst things you can do. So outside of gun depression and also understanding your tank is understanding your tank's strengths and weaknesses. So here in this video, the T62 has a very, very good and strong turret, and which trades it for not having very good gun depression, and that's most of the time of how it works within tanks, and so, or just World of Tanks Blitz. So I'm trying to just utilize my T62A by just poking my turret out and trying to keep my hull, the body of the tank protected, because I don't have very much armor in that part of it. And being aggressive but also cautious at the same time. Notice I'm keeping myself hidden where there's cover. I'm behind things. I'm making it so that most of the time my turret is only exposed in the forward part of it. I'm keeping myself aware of where my enemies are. I'm looking around. So understanding, just going back to the strengths and weaknesses of the tank, I'm utilizing the strengths of my tank because I know the turret is very strong, and I'm just trying to peek that out, keep my tank on flat ground because I don't have very good gun depression, and I can't be putting myself in positions where I'm coming up over steeper hills because I can't get my cannon down with a type of tank like this. I have to keep myself on flatter ground in order to be able to get those shots off enemies as much as I can. And so also going back to cover, I can't tell you how many times I'm playing Blitz and I see so many light and medium tanks get into almost what looks like a Wild West DPM fight. And that is one of the worst things you could do. And also, they won't even move. They're completely out in the open. There's no protection. They keep getting hammered, and they'll just instantly get deleted from the game super quickly. So one of the other things that came to mind was the ammunition. Knowing how to use your ammunition as a medium tank can be very impactful. Medium tanks and light tanks typically don't have the best penetration, so using APCR or heat rounds may come in handy or useful for those harder penetrating targets if you're coming across heavy tanks. The best way to utilize a medium and light tank is coming up along the sides of the heavy tanks and being able to get shots off them. So hope this helps with playing with medium tanks a little bit. This is Stud Muffin 1986, and keep tanking.